Hi everybody, this is attorney Arkady Frekhtman, and today I wanted to do a mini book review about a book I was listening to, and it's called Delay, Deny, Defend: Why Insurance Companies Don't Pay Claims and What You Can Do About It. And it's a really interesting book, especially today with what's going on in the news about insurance companies and the murder of the CEO of the health insurance company United by Luigi Mangione, who's now standing trial, and there's a lot of publicity, right, and a lot of talk about that. So this book talks about all types of insurance, whether it's auto insurance, a little bit about health insurance, a lot about property damage, like the claims with Hurricane Katrina, things like that. They start off by talking about the claims environment, right, which is a book by James Markham, and that's kind of the book that they use, or manual that they use to teach adjusters. And they talk about the nature of insurance and what's the point of insurance. And essentially it's a promise, right? Somebody buys insurance because they want protection, and insurance is that promise. And they talk about it's fulfilling the insurance company's function as it's stated and promised in the policy, which is what an insurance company has to do. And it also discusses how insurance works and the idea that insurance shifts a loss from an individual to a group. And that's known as contribution ship. And you could think of it almost like a ship, right? Everybody contributes. Like, for example, you have a ship and everybody contributes something, right? Everybody contributes, let's say, some food. And now that, because you have 100 people, now that ship is full of food. Now you can go and have a feast on that ship, right? So it's the same kind of idea. Everybody puts in some money in this contribution ship, and it goes into the insurance company, because that's known as the premium. And then they keep all that. And then if somebody has a loss, like say a car crash and somebody gets really hurt and they're going to need millions of dollars, the idea is they're supposed to be fair and they're supposed to care about you and they're supposed to give you that money. But that's not what actually happens, because these insurance companies are run by corporations, and they're really looking out for their own interests. They also discuss claims and claims adjusters, and that before, back in the day, it was a very respected job, because it was almost like being a judge. You would have to understand all these aspects of, causation and medical issues, and really make a decision as to how to process a claim and what a claim is worth, whether it's a trip and fall claim, car crash claim, whatever it is, right? And now it's very, very different. And back in the day, the real goal of a claim was fairness. Fairness was the goal of claims. And now, and when I say now, maybe even in the last, 20, 30 years, or maybe even more than that, they're using these programs like Colossus and Xactimate, computer programs. So what the insurance companies have essentially done is they took away from adjusters, and they made the adjusters more like clerks that just push paper. And that way anybody could become an adjuster, right? You could be like right out of school, not have any experience, not have any knowledge, not be able to really assess the value of a personal injury claim, but you could be an adjuster, because all you have to do is input the information into a program like Colossus, and then the computer program is the one that really decides how much to pay out. And what they're also doing is they're doing performance-based compensation for the adjusters. So if the computer says, hey, on this claim, pay $10,000, and the adjuster settles it for, let's say, $7,500, well, then the adjuster gets a bonus. But if the computer says, hey, pay $10,000, and the adjuster sees, oh, wait a minute, this guy's got a real trial lawyer, they're going to go to court, I have to pay out $25,000 on this claim. Well, now he's negative $15,000, right? And now he gets like a demotion. That's how they work. And actually they admit that if one person, meaning a claimant, gets more, then another claimant has to get less, because they just care about meeting their bottom line, right? So if one person in that example gets 25,000, but he should have gotten 10, well, where are they going to make up this 15,000? They're going to make it up by giving somebody else who, is just an innocent claimant, but who got into, let's say, a car crash that wasn't their fault, but they're going to give them less to make up for this one. And they work with this company known as McKinsey Consulting, and there's a whole book about, I think it's called When McKinsey Comes to Town, and they talk about McKinsey and all the, evil stuff that they've done all over the world, but that's another story. So anyway, McKinsey wanted people, policyholders, or I'm sorry, claimants, more claimants, people that get into accidents, they really wanted them not to hire lawyers because they looked at the data and they researched everything and they saw that if you hire a lawyer, you get 3 times more than if you don't hire a lawyer. So what they did was they put right in the insurance claim manual, let's avoid lawyers. Let's not mention lawyers if somebody brings up a lawyer, and they have an entire script on how to teach the adjusters to speak to people so that they don't hire a lawyer. And one of the ways they do it is they are fair sometimes with property damage. So say you get into a little fender bender and you have like $1,000 or $2,000 in property damage. They pay the property damage promptly and fairly. And the reason they do that is because they know that if they were fair with the property damage, a normal, reasonable person will then think, well, they're also going to be fair with the bodily injury. So if I have a surgery and they have $1 million policy, hey, you're going to pay me maybe like $700,000, but they're not going to be fair with that, right? So that's a trick that they do. And they also misstate the cost of hiring a lawyer. They actually have a script where it says, hey, why don't you settle with the insurance company directly? Because the entire settlement is yours. And they even have a script that says, I would like to make you an offer to you. That way, if you hire an attorney later on, their fee will only be on the amount over what you're being offered now. But it's kind of like they're trying to lure you in, right, with honey and make you think, oh, why go to these bad lawyers because they're going to take 30% or maybe 40% of your legal fee. But what they're not telling you is that the offer they're making to you is ridiculously low, like $1,500. Sure, you'll get the full $1,500 rather than getting only $1,000 with a lawyer. But that's not what a lawyer is going to do, because if a lawyer comes into a case like this, even, a small soft tissue case, the lawyer will probably get you, $15,000. So even after the $5,000 fee, you're still going to get $10,000 rather than getting the $1,500 all to yourself. When they deal with their IME doctors, they call them independent medical examiners, but they're really the defense medical examiners, and they're really being hired by the insurance company, and they send them instructions. And one of the instructions says, look, you should only give an opinion as to causation, meaning whether the injury was caused by, let's say, the crash or the fall. You should only give causation if there isn't any, right? If it's in the negative. But if there is causation, just don't mention it, right? This is what they instruct their doctors. And then they have the gall and the audacity to call them independent. So that's just one example. And the other thing they do was going back to these computer programs like Colossus, for example, the way these work is that they set up severity points, right? And then each insurance company can then translate the severity points of an injury to money. So for example, Allstate can say, well, if you have 10 points, for example, like 10 points severity, that's 100,000. But State Farm could say, okay, if you have 10 points, that's 30,000, right? They could just translate it any way they want. So it kind of becomes like those airline miles where, you get those credit cards and they give you the airline miles and they could say, you have 1 million miles. Oh, I have 1 million miles. Oh, that's good for $1. They can do it however they want. And they do it on purpose to keep everything artificially low. So this is the real reason why they're not, and then talking about other claims like homeowner claims, they actually said that they also trick people because, for example, somebody had a collapse and it was in their home, and they said, look, I want to get, because I'm paying my homeowner's insurance, and they said, look, collapse is excluded. But then when the person later hired a lawyer and filed a lawsuit, they found out that sure, the collapse itself was excluded, but the cause of the collapse, such as wind damage, would have been covered, right? But they don't tell you that. So all these little tricks, and really, I guess the point of the book is that insurance companies are a business. Insurance companies are out there for themselves. They want to make as much money as possible. And so you have to have a real trial lawyer, somebody that understands this and fight back against them to not let them take advantage of you. So I hope this was helpful. Let us know what you think. But if you have a chance, check out that book. It's a really good either listen or you could read it. I think it's available in most libraries. It's been out for a while, but I think now it's becoming more popular because of this case that's going on in the news. Okay, everyone, please like and subscribe to our channel. Let us know what questions you have. We are here for you. Our goal is helping serious injury victims and families. All the best.